When choosing fabric, you want to remember that 100% cotton works best because it washes and wears well. You can use other fabric like this velvet here, but you won't be able to wash it. And you also have problems with marking on it, pressing it, sewing it. So you could use this for a wall hanging that you're not going to wash, but just remember there are some challenges associated with this. So I've given you directions for a small 2-color quilt, but you can make your quilt any size using many different fabrics. I've used some coordinating monkey fabric to make the 42-inch quilt on the left. There's 49 blocks in that quilt. In the smaller quilt on the right, which is 24 inches by 24 inches, there are 16 squares. Scraps can also be used to make this quilt. These 5-inch squares were left over from my quilt group. We had used these to make another project, and we decided then to pin them together, sew the X, and we made a scrap quilt that we donated in one of our members, Sue Adiego's memory. You can use any size block to make this quilt if you follow these rules. You're always going to need to sew with a 1/2-inch seam allowance, not a 1/4 inch like most quilters use, because you need the extra seams for cutting on the back of the quilt to make that sort of chenille effect. The fabric, you pick any size. For example, we picked these 5-inch squares. So the batting that we're going to cut, we subtract 1 inch from the 5-inch and we cut out a 4-inch square. You don't always have to just use squares, as seen in this table runner here. In this table runner, I have used squares like this batting, and I've used some rectangles like this piece and this piece. If you do decide to use different size or shapes of blocks, then I'll caution you that you usually need to do some figuring on graph paper or drawing out what you want to do on graph paper beforehand.